Hey, let me call you right back. I'm from Washington, D.C., born and raised. My name is Bryan Scottie Irving. I'm a developer and owner of BlueSkye Construction, BlueSkye Development, and Urban Development.
I met Scottie at Central State University when I was 18 years old. I was there on a basketball scholarship, and Scottie was there playing football. And we used to meet in the back gym to play basketball. And he would always tell me that I needed to play harder and be more aggressive. So he was one of the first guys that realized my talent and pushed my talent. People that play sports, they're often the better organizers. They're able to be coachable people because they know conflict and resolution. Issues, when you're dealing with bad issues and shortfalls, they know how to overcome them. And I think when you play sports, it helps you build character. It helps you to build your inner self and move yourself upward.
Good God Almighty, look at him. Look what he's done in this city. Scottie he's the type of man that once he set a goal, he reached that goal, he's not satisfied. He has to go higher and higher and higher. Look up, he touching the sky. That's where he get his name, from his daughter, BlueSkye Construction.
Everyone in my family is in love with the color blue. My daughter is Sky, and matter of fact, she lives in this building as a college student. So the company is named after her. No, I didn't study it. No, I didn't go to school for it. I have a degree in sociology. So sociology gave birth to business concepts. So a lot of us who look at W.B. Du Bois and look at Booker T. Washington, they talked about economics and the build of economics and how economics plays a role into the African-American development aspect. So I followed that vein into most business aspects. Okay, so we on the site of Park Kennedy Apartments. It's 274 units of market rate and affordable apartments in Washington, D.C. This building was on city land. It was won 7 years ago, and this is an $85 million project that we financed to get built. And across from it is this sister, the Ethel, and the Ethel is 100 units of permanent placement housing for homeless individuals. 76 women and 27 men that previously was homeless. And the mayor, Muriel Bowser, came to us and said, hey, you developing that site over there, we'd like to put some homeless individuals in that building. And it panned out very well for us. It turned into a $64 million project that was partially financed by the city, and Chris Donatelli and BlueSkye financed that building to able to put some of our citizens in a stable housing.
So we always knew he was going to be successful because he was more of a giver than a taker. So givers always succeed.
He builds for the homeless, he builds for the elderly.
As Ty has the madness stuff, they used to send us stuff and we would work on weekends and sell shirts, and Scottie split the funds.
He speaks a lot about us with the madness because he originally was with the madness.
My cousin introduced me to the true entrepreneurial world and how to go about that world and how to integrate that world and accelerate growth, right?
Well, madness started in the late 70s, and we escalated, and we used to go around selling t-shirts out of the trunks of our cars. He brought us our first design.
And that's where it goes in the 90s. So when we started the madness out the trunk of our cars, it was all about the transition, to get from one place to the next place, to grow into the real estate space.
Scottie had that entrepreneurship in him as a kid, and I seen it, even as 12, 13 years old. He didn't settle for one touchdown, two touchdowns. He had to have 3, 4, every game. He was destined for greatness.
So it was the t-shirt business first. And then my grandfather one day, who used to run numbers, came, we ran across each other and he told me give him a ride. So I gave him a ride and he took me over to 2201 M Street, and it was my first apartment building. He gave me my first apartment building in high school. I didn't do anything to it, but just kept it up enough. And I went off to college. And during college, I still had the building. And when I graduated college, I came back and got into the development aspects.
Before I had my car on campus, he was the first person that had a car on campus. And I could say, hey, I need to go to town, because when we went to school, town was 10, 15 miles from the campus. And he often took people to get food. He often helped out with books, but he was more of a giver than a taker. So when you give more than you take, it works out. God has a plan for you.
As a sociology major, you think about how to give birth to your people, right? I used to be a school teacher. So one of the things when I was teaching school, the kids was always in need of something, right? So we found ways to put them to work in construction on the weekends so they wouldn't go out and hustle. So as a kid that grew up in that lifestyle, I wanted to make sure that we do everything we could not to send kids into that lifestyle. So on the weekend, the kids would work into some of our old development deals and get 75, 100 bucks, and that would save them. So that's the sociology part. Sociology sent me into this to create job opportunities, and that's something we take serious in construction and development. We had Marion Barry, we had Mayor Washington, we have Mayor Muriel Bowser that has evolved a system now with equity RFPs. My new development that's 1,500 units was a minority RFP, meaning that minorities was the only one, or black developers were the only one that could win those RFPs. So our next bunch I won one, Tony Awash and other individuals, Harvey Yancey won the other pad. So they are building 2,000 units over here in a hotel. So we have evolved it in Washington, DC, and that's important. So we're in a process now with my cousin Ty. We have a construction class that we run for 10 weeks. So we're putting new blood, males and females, in the construction. But we have evolved that now to go to the University, the District of Columbia, to talk to them about their construction management program, which is a 2-year program. So some of the young individuals, we just don't want them to become laborers. We want them to become on the management side. So we're bringing them now as project engineers and help them work their way up on the management side to close some of that gap. You go to job sites, you see them don't look like us as much as it should, as the city of Washington, DC. So I said it before, and I constantly said again, our city spent $1 billion a year on capital budget projects. That's schools, libraries, and museums, as well as rec centers. And it's a $500 million opportunity in that for minority businesses to take advantage of. The federal government side is $5 billion a year in the DMV that's spent on construction. And it's about $2.5 to $2 billion of that go to minority firms. So the opportunity is here. It's the capital aspect that we need to continue to grow, the human capital aspect.
I look at him as my son. Even though I'm a big cousin, he's really my first son, because I was the best man at his wedding. I was at his high school graduations, his college graduations. Everything he's done in life, he brought me along with him. And I'm just the proudest dad you could find.
I see a guy that he's in the construction field, but I see a guy that just loves his city. He loves kids. So when you say his legacy, I think him being a Washingtonian, that's his legacy.
So we use our city bonds to spend close to $400 million a year on affordable housing. I sit on that board, and we make sure that a lot of that money go to minority developers, right? The gentrification aspects go way back. And DC is just a revolving city. When we first created the concept of streetcars, right? This part of gentrification go ways back to that. Keep in mind that it was a large white Jewish community here before the 60s happened. And now we're seeing a return of that. And it's up to African Americans, play your role and be a part of not letting it happen. But as a community, I think that if I continue to create jobs, to create opportunities, build companies, build a sub-base, that whatever my legacy is, it'll take care of itself, you know what I mean? Whether anybody remember me or don't remember me, they're gonna pass my buildings one day. And to me, that's the legacy I want to leave behind.